welcome back to the channel. It's story time. So, for those of you that are new, once in a while, I like to do a video where I tell stories, just for fun, Told a story about going to a psychic at a flea market. I'll try to link to that, either up here, I've never done that before, or at the end of the video. Maybe I'll do that at the end of the video. If you make it to the end and you want to hear about me visiting a psychic, I'll link to that at the end. So, I've been promising another story time. Problem is I didn't know what to talk about, what would be interesting. It's got to be interesting, right? So, I mentioned that one time Dan Marino yelled at me. So, this is dedicated to Anthony from Metal Miners. He wanted to hear the Marino story. So, background. I've dealt in collectibles, sports cards, non-sport cards, comic books, basically my entire life. Still dabble in it to this day. So, I was friends with an autograph dealer. We went to Orlando, Kevin, Kevin was an autograph dealer. He had a buddy, I don't know his name, I'd never met him before. He was also an autograph dealer. And then some other dude that they knew that was coming along to help out like I was. So it was the four of us. We go to Orlando because ESPN was doing one of these bullshit quarterback competition type shows, and they were doing it at this place there near Disney. And all the players were staying at this hotel. So Kevin found out the hotel everybody was staying at, and we headed up there with a bunch of cards of all the quarterbacks. All I really remember, Marino, obviously. I think Warren Moon, I saw him. Maybe Steve Young was there, I think. I don't remember. Anyway, it was that era, 90s. It would have been early 90s. So we go. Here was the deal. We were not the only dealers hanging out in the lobby of the hotel. There were some other dealers that were just behind us. Dan Marino was in the hotel bar drinking. So what these guys were doing, and we were doing the same thing, I guess it was like a common autograph dealer thing, is you would get kids, because kids were there to try to meet the football players, right? So they would give the kids 2 cards. Here's 2 cards of Warren Moon. Go get him to sign both of them. Give one back and you keep one. So we're just getting like kids to get autographs for us, right? Well, these dudes behind us were doing the exact same thing. But what they were doing was getting kids, giving them 2 Dan Marino cards and saying, go into that bar up there and get Dan Marino to sign these cards. So while Dan Marino's sitting in the bar trying to drink, I'm stuttering. Maybe I need a drink. While Dan Marino is in the hotel bar getting his drink on, all these kids keep coming in. Mr. Marino, can you sign these cards? So after a few times, Marino's like, hey, puts 2 and 2 together. This is like the 4th time this has happened. Something's going on. He comes storming out of the bar into the lobby, in the hotel. And we're the first dealers he sees. So he focuses in on us and comes right up to us. Now these other dudes, they're just over my shoulder, like back in the seats in the corner. He comes to us and he's yelling at the 4 of us. It's terrible that you're using children to profit. Some bullshit. I don't know what it was, but we were using children, to make money and bothering him. And he was slurring his words, So he's yelling at us. And we're trying to explain, like Kevin's like, Mr. Marino, it wasn't us. And we're doing like this. Well, them dudes, they're packing their shit up and getting the hell out of there. You know, they're packing their car jack into their shoe boxes and they're out. So he's yelling at us. He gets done yelling. You know, security at this point is already there. You know, security's just standing there. We're sitting just like, don't know what to say because we're not the ones guilty, right? Marino's just screaming, and security's just kind of standing there watching. You know, it's like two security guards, like they don't know what's going on. And Kevin's like, Mr. Marino, wasn't us. It wasn't us, right? So Marino gets done yelling. He turns to walk away. Now, inside the lobby, this is one of those fancy hotels right around Disney, and there's like a I don't know if it was real, it's probably real or fake, like palm tree kind of thing in a pot, right? Kind of big. As he turns to walk away, he walks in to one of them palm tree branches, right? Doesn't hurt him, embarrasses him. He turns back around. I want all these guys thrown out of here. Want them all thrown out now. And security's just trying to calm him down at this point. Like, we'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. Go back to the bar, you know. So Marino leaves, and we explain to security, it wasn't us that's doing what he's talking about. It's those guys that you just saw packing up and heading out of here. It was them that was doing it. And security, surprisingly enough, said just leave Marino alone for the rest of the night. And we're like, no problem, you know. And security surprisingly let us stay because they realized we were calm and just explaining it wasn't us. It wasn't us. It was them guys, you know. So security let us stay. But, you know, Marino yelled and was drinking. So I owned a comic book store. I don't know if I ever mentioned, I owned a comic book store. I called it a comic book store, but I sold cards too, cards and comics, Millennium Cards and Comics. So this guy used to come into the store. He was like a lot of New Yorkers, you know, in Florida. This was in Florida. Did I mention it in Florida? I can't remember. So this guy comes in, has a ring because he worked in the front office or something of the Rangers when they won the Stanley Cup. And apparently whatever position he held, he got a ring, like Stanley Cup ring. So that was his big claim to fame. You know, I got a Rangers ring, you know. But he used to live and work out of Miami. And I told him that story about Marino. And he's like, yeah, you know, I was friends with a bartender at like an Applebee's or one of them kind of places, you know. And Marino used to come in drinking all the time. And one time he got so drunk he just left his wallet laying right on the bar, you know. Come in the next morning when they opened asking for it. You know, so apparently people in Miami, they know what Marino was like. It used to make me laugh when you do those commercials for like weight loss. You know, I got to eat Jenny Craig meals to lose weight. And I'm thinking, just stop drinking, dude. There's a lot of calories in that shit. You know, I'm putting on weight. You know, my extra large shirts are tight. And it's just because I drink so goddamn much. So, that's the Marino story. Funny story about Kevin. I'll just tell, this is Kevin's story, but he was proud of it, so I'll tell it. So Kevin, the autograph dealer, he had a 16 by 20 of the 3 Apollo 11 astronauts. And it was already signed by 2 of them. The third astronaut, and I forget which one, that would be a better story if I remembered, right? But it was the big one, you know, and I can't remember who the big one was. You know, Neil Armstrong, I guess, was the big one, right? Who was the other one? Who was the next biggest one? I don't know. I could Google. I'm using my phone to record, so I can't look it up. Anyway, the third astronaut was speaking at some deal at the Space Center, you know, Cape Canaveral. So Kevin takes his 16 by 20 and goes up there, tries to get his autograph. Now, Kevin, I wouldn't know if you call him tall, but he was taller than me. You know, I'm like 5'10". He was taller than that. And he had long hair. and a lot of hair. Like, this was 20, 30 years ago. Well, it was the 90s, right? When was the 90s? This is the 20s. Yeah, it was like over 20 years ago. So yeah, Kevin, and he wore these earrings that were like really big, like hoop earrings, kind of weird. But yeah, big hoop earrings with long hair. And he was a tall guy. And he would wear button up shirts. And, he thought he was hot shit because his dad was rich, kind of thing. But he tried to get close to get his autograph, and he never could get it, right? Made eye contact with him, but never could get close enough to get him to sign it. The astronaut leaves the event. He's staying at a hotel in Orlando. Kevin follows him, he literally followed him in the car all the way to Orlando. So he had to be, he's stalking the guy. Confronts him in the hotel in Orlando once he gets there. And I seem to recall, like, he got in the elevator with him, kind of thing, and like, this is it, sign this, God damn it. The way he would used to tell the story is he was about ready to sign it, and he looked up at Kevin, and he recognized Kevin from the Space Center. And he's like, did you follow me all the way to Orlando? And Kevin's like, yeah. He's like, for my autograph? He's like, yeah. And he wouldn't sign it. He refused to sign it because he was like, he thought Kevin was crazy, like stalker kind of guy, But what it was, this picture was like a $500 picture. This was 20 years ago. That'd be like $1,000 now, Like a 16 by 20 Snail Mail 3 was, probably worth a lot more than that. But $500 back then would probably be like $1,000 adjusted for inflation. And it'd probably be worth a lot more than that now, especially authenticated type thing, Anyway, I won't go off on collectibles. I could just do a sports edition and tell my Tommy Lasorda story. Dodger Town, Vero Beach, Florida, spring training. Tommy Lasorda, manager. I see him. There's this area where there's like batting cages, like outdoor batting cages, right? And there's a fence, right? And the players, you're separated from the players through this fence. So Tommy Lasorda is up there. And I get my ball, right? And I'm like, Mr. Lasorda, And he's like, sorry, I got to run. And he starts to leave. So that's cool. I get it, As he's leaving, another person, like I'm walking away. Tommy's like, he's on that side of the fence and he's walking away from me. I start walking away. Somebody walks up to the fence and yells, hey, Tommy, it's, whoever, it's Bobby, from the neighborhood kind of thing, Tommy turns around, walks back. Oh, I haven't seen you in ages, all this kind of stuff. And they start like reminiscing. Well, I'm standing at this point about 10 feet away, and I turn around and I'm watching, and it's like, you didn't have time to sign for me, but now that, Bobby's here, you got time to stand and chat. So I'm just standing watching, about 10 feet, 12 feet, whatever. I'm not good at distance. Might have been 20 feet. Close, but not like weird close, And I'm watching. And once in a while, Tommy would look up and kind of make eye contact with me. And he'd go back to talking to Bobby, And I'm waiting, he already refused me. So I thought, now I'd walk right back up and say, Tommy, come on, man, But I was young. And I just respected, he said no, so I'm just standing here, I'm waiting for him to be a nice guy and motion me back over, because he sees me. We make eye contact, he sees me, never did. Got done talking to Bobby, and he turned around and walked away. And here I'm standing here with this ball with no signatures on it, right? So, a different trip to spring training, Mike Piazza might have been his rookie year. What was that, like 93? Rookie? Anyway, Mike Piazza, right? So, I had my girlfriend with me. I had a girlfriend, believe it or not. Took her with me to spring training. So I thought I'll just have like the hot girlfriend go ask for autographs. She'd have a better chance than me. So there's Mike Piazza. He gets done with, catching, batting, whatever, catching. He was a catcher. Got done practicing and stuff. And he comes, takes his gear off, and he comes over to sign autographs. So we go down there, and I taught Amy how to, like, hold the ball, because you want them to sign it on the sweet spot, right? It's worth more if they sign it on that sweet spot. I don't have a baseball to show you, but yeah. So I told her, like, make sure you hand it to him with the sweet spot right there, so when he grabs it, he's looking at the sweet spot. I taught her that. And so I push her up there, edge her up, and I made sure she wore something that showed cleavage kind of thing, because I'm not above, pimping out, for an autograph that I'm going to make money off of, right? So she hands him the ball. He grabs the ball, and he looks up, like, at her. And he's, like, looking around, like, where's the boyfriend kind of thing. And he takes that ball. He's looking at the sweet spot. And he starts tossing it like this. And he finds the ugliest spot on the ball where there's, like, writing or something on it. And that's where he signs it. Real shitty, horrible autograph in, like, the worst place on the ball. And I'm thinking, it's like, you make $20 million a year, and you're scared I'm going to make $20 off a goddamn autograph? Fuck you, Mike Piazza. What else? Yeah, that's my sports stories, Saw Shaq when I lived in Las Vegas. He was on a motorcycle. We were in traffic, like not on the strip, but heading towards the strip kind of thing. And I look over, and there's this huge dude on a motorcycle, and he had a helmet on, but I could see his tattoo, his Superman tattoo, So yeah, I saw Shaq, and he had like a posse, all on like rented motorcycles. And like half of them were wearing, probably all of them wearing Shaq jerseys. He wasn't, but like his posse was all wearing his jersey kind of thing. So yeah. That's my celebrity encounter in Vegas. The only celebrity I bumped into, I don't know if I've ever told this, Dave Friedman, producer. Produced a lot of Herschel Gordon Lewis movies back in the 60s, Blood Feast and whatnot. Horror movie exploitation master. He was I went to the Riviera Casino one night because I collected casino chips. They put out commemorative casino chips all the time with different events, holidays even. They'll make Halloween chips, with spooky stuff on them, limited edition of like 1,000 kind of thing. So anytime limited edition chips came out, I'm heading to the casino to pick them up. So I get my chips from the cage. I'm walking away. As I'm walking past me is Dave Friedman, with a stack of chips. He'd been playing, whatever, blackjack or whatever, table game. And he was cashing in his chips. And he walks past, and I turn around, I'm like, that's Dave Friedman, right? I didn't say that because I'm by myself. So I wait. I didn't approach him when he had a handful of chips. I waited till he cashed everything in and put his money away, and I walked up, and I'm like, Mr. Friedman, And he's like, yeah, and we started talking, and he seemed like he was excited that somebody recognized him, bumped into him. So he was in town for some type of convention. There was like I think it was like either like a wrestling promoters thing or like a carnival. I think it was like a carny type convention for carny workers, not workers, but promoters type stuff. I don't know. Some type of carnival type thing. That seemed like something that he'd be into, So yeah, he was in town for that. So yeah, I just bumped into Dave Friedman. So anyway, I don't know. It's not really a good story time. Was going to tell the story. Maybe I'll just give you like a like a sample. Give you a sample of this story. When I was in high school, I think it was freshman year of high school, one of my classmates murdered his father. Dun dun dun. Yeah, so there's like some background, like there's a reason that he did it, and he had an accomplice that helped him get rid of the body. And yeah, there was this weird relationship between the two of them. And yeah, he did some time, obviously, for killing his father. And I'm just telling the whole fucking story. I was just going to give you like a preview. So maybe it's not that interesting. Maybe I could tell it in 2 minutes. No. I don't know. If you want to hear that, I'll do it next time. Let me know in the comments. Do you want to hear about the dude that killed his father and what I found out recently from my former physics teacher? But yeah, wasn't as exciting of a story time as I wanted. I was hoping something would just pop into my head out of the blue, but it didn't happen. But like I said, I'm going to put a link to my story time where I visited a psychic. Do that at the end here. So if you made it through this one and you haven't seen that one got good response. It was a good story time. So yeah, this one, it's sports edition. We'll just call this sports edition story time. Trying to think. That's really the only, encounters I had. All my other encounters with players getting autographs at Dodgertown were all positive. Everybody was cool. Saw Darryl Strawberry. See, Strawberry went out of his way, when the Mets. This was in '86, maybe. Was it '86? No, I wasn't there in '86. '88. It would have been '88. Yeah, the Mets were still good, '88, right? '88, '89. Anyway, Strawberry was driving away. He was done playing, and he was driving away in his Mercedes with the tinted windows. And there was a group of kids just hanging out, and he stopped and got out of the car. And they all ran over and got his autograph. He could have just drove off, and he didn't, But, and then Mike Piazza is you might make a buck off my autograph. So yeah, I've already said it. I won't say it again. Probably going to get lots of Mike Piazza. He's in the Hall of Fame. Who gives a fuck if he's in the Hall of Fame? Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm just saying. I mean, it's in the rules. I get it. Can't they just amend the rule book? I think, doesn't it say that if you're caught gambling, it's a lifetime ban or something? Couldn't they just amend that or change it to, it's a punishment up to a lifetime ban, and it can be at the discretion of the commissioner? Because I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. And why does A-Rod get a pass? All these other assholes that did steroids, it's they're ostracized. Can't be in the Hall of Fame. You're out of here. And everywhere you look, A-Rod, he's on TV all the time. Kind of pisses me off, Always thought he seemed like an asshole. That's all, So yeah, anyway, that's it for story time. If all goes as planned, I will have a collection update coming up very soon, possibly tomorrow. We'll see. So, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you later.